What's going on, Bulls Nation, and welcome in to CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck, Big Day, bam, BAWL Sports, Will the Goat Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb, and our guy on the controls, pal and producer, Joey Spathis. He's at Joey Spathis. Shout out Luis, joining us from Portugal. Also, shout out to our guy, Larry Strickland, who... before we even went live, threw a $50 super chat in the comments saying, missed you guys yesterday, so I'm sending $50 for my 50th yesterday.
Hey, let's go.
Shout out to my fellow Gemini Joey, C Red baby. Happy 5-0 to Mr. Strickland.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
What a
Shout out
milestone.
to you, Mr. Strickland.
Yeah. Good dude, too, man. If you ever had a chance to meet him. Like
His friends call him Ace
Yes.
Strick,
This is
Ace
true.
Strick.
This is true.
and he is a king.
Of
gonna come
relation
to our
to
draft
Tom
party and
Ace,
hang
or
out
is
with
that a
us?
different Ace family?
Maybe.
Hopefully he comes to our draft party and hangs out with us.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
He came to one of our takeovers
He did.
this season, yeah?
Yes, he
Had a
did.
fun time hanging out at Crossroads?
Yep.
We talked about the Bears and Justin Fields and Caleb Williams at that time.
Yes.
He was Team Justin.
Yeah.
I told him move on.
It's actually even better because I remember I don't even think he could go to the game. He had something, or he
Yeah,
couldn't get a
he
ticket,
just actually
but he
came
just
by.
came to hang out
Yeah.
for the beginning, which was even more awesome.
Which was cool. He was like, I just wanted to show love to y'all. So he came by and hang out and do that. But come to the
Much
draft
love.
party, Strick.
Our guy, sales guy Jim, just said if Ace comes to the draft party, he's got your first Coors Light.
Let's go.
There you go.
Let's go.
There you go.
There you go. Let's do this, man.
Lars, also appreciate you, buddy, but I don't, unless you are much younger than I assume you are, no one cares about half birthdays. If you're an adult.
what birthday?
He
I
said,
care.
I just had my half birthday on the 7th, Sagittarius gang.
I care about you, Lars.
No one over the age of 8 should care when their half birthday is.
And shout out if you're 8 years old watching us because we love the kids.
We
Shout
sure
out
do.
to you. Also,
My nieces, both still under 8 years of age, love their half birthdays,
Oh.
and they're allowed to.
and you let them.
But
Sure.
as soon as
Yeah.
they hit their 9th birthday, you're going to start
If
reprimanding them
either
for
one of
talking
them
about their
talks to me about their
half
half birthday when they are between 8 and 9, I'm going to tell them to get the F
yes.
out.
I can't wait for them to find out this version of Unky Matt. I am dying for them to find it because it's gonna come out.
Ignorance
It's
is bliss.
gonna come out.
I'm terrified
man.
of that.
Oh, it's gonna.
My
come
sister
out.
only shows them these tiny little segments of our show when I'm
yeah.
smiling and waving to them, and they're like, Uncle Matt's coming to see you. They don't know the loud, abrasive, vulgar version of Uncle Matt.
Those
Oh
poor,
my
poor
God.
children.
Oh, they're in for it. They'll get used to it. Trust
They will.
Me. I do want to shout out the Burke brothers are back in effect today. Because
That's
Will the
right,
Gottlieb
baby.
and Matt Peck are
Burke
in
boys.
effect. The Burke boys are back in effect and doing their thing.
It is
man.
so hot outside.
It is so hot.
It's a little steamy. It's a little steamy.
Anyone
out
wearing sleeves today, I don't know what
are
you're
these new
doing.
Hirachis?
there. No. I just take care of them. That's
You just
all.
take care of
I
them.
just take care of
They're
stuff,
nice.
So.
How are you doing with the
They're
heat,
nice.
though, Dave?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. As
I
long
mean,
as-
you got your child.
man, you heard me when I sat down and turned it on. I was like, yes. Have it fresh ice in there and everything. I'm doing well.
Strick is saying when is the draft party, so it's a good
Boom.
time we can.
Let's
toss
promo.
that one
Do
up on the
it.
screen.
It is night 1 of the NBA draft, Wednesday, June 26th, 2 weeks from tonight. 2 weeks from tonight, we are hanging out at PB&J.
yeah.
Awesome bar, awesome vibes in the West Loop. It is a free event. Joey, I don't know if you threw the link in the chat yet, if you want to do that now. If you want to RSVP to let us know you're coming, that's great. It is a free event to enter. Coors Light is presenting. We're going to do a live show from PB&J as the draft unfolds, see what the Bulls do with their first-round pick. Coors Light's going to have drink specials all night.
Ooh.
We're going to do some giveaways, some Bull stuff, some CHGO merch, and just all hang out together as Bulls fans. It's going to be a lot of fun. There is that link to the events page on our CHGO website that Joey just put in the chat. Go check it out. Send us an RSVP. Let us know you're coming. Invite your friends. Invite your fam.
Yeah. And Sales Guy Jim says rounds are on him. Shout out to Sales Guy Jim for that. Right there, right? Rounds on him. You heard him, baby. if you can find them.
Yeah.
Rounds on him, man.
I love how even in like our promos when they like use our full names, Matt Peck and Will Gottlieb, it's always just Big Dave.
Big Dave.
it's
Never.
who I am.
It's never your
we
full
don't do
name.
governments out here, you know?
Government.
I
name?
mean, does it not say Will the Goat Gottlieb? Because if so, that is an egregious oversight.
That's really what I was alluding to.
Yeah, you can't get away. Would you just get away with just saying goat?
Yeah,
where's putting that right there? Just goat.
Just goat.
That's it. That's who he rolls. I think that would make you uncomfortable.
The other day, I was walking into our studio and I was like looking at my phone, catching up on the 3 minutes of Twitter I had just missed, and I just all of a sudden heard goat, 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 and I was like, somebody calling me goat. And it was Peck. But it took me a second to actually recognize that I was being called goat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we were in
took me a minute.
in the alley right outside our office building.
Yeah.
And I said to him, in these streets, you are goat.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's all I
these
address
streets.
him as.
Honestly, and not just these specific streets of West Loop, Chicago. If I saw him on a beach in a different state,
Yes.
and like from like 50 yards away, I would still yell, goat!
Yes, even if I saw him in West Philadelphia, born and raised, where on the playgrounds where I spend most of my days, I would definitely be calling him goat.
Can we see the Burks again?
You want the Burks one
No.
more time? Uh-oh, what Joey
Let me
do?
see.
Something's
Because-
wrong.
because it's,
Something's up. I feel like I'm going to get got.
It's a hit or miss usually if I have my old graphics, but this one I was
Yeah.
Let's go.
There it is. Burke brothers. Look at him, man. Look at him. That's
I mean,
exactly right.
Will's face is like it's like in perfect position.
Yes,
looks
it
like
is.
really
he's
is.
Yeah, it
in
was
that
paid
vein.
for that.
I really miss the stash. I gotta say.
It's coming
really
back.
do.
Yeah, get,
It'll
in,
be back.
really
get in
do.
line, Will. A lot of people do.
Flex on him, Peck. Flex on him. You know y'all love it.
You got to wait. You got to wait.
Yeah. You got some time.
September.
Yeah.
September,
All right.
I'll
I can be
start
patient.
growing it
It's
back.
cool. I can
The
be
shadow
patient.
going to be here, though.
Shadow will be here.
Shadow going to be in effect.
That's
So, yeah,
right.
We're going to have that.
In a harsh change of subject, but shout out to Rob in the comments. Wanted to touch on, before we get to some draft night trade talk on the back end of today's show, another very sad piece of news in the world of the NBA. Rob in the comments said first Walton dies, then Chet Walker, now today it's Jerry West. The NBA legends with last names starting with W have had a bad span here. So that was the sad news that broke early this morning, is that NBA legend Jerry West passed away at the age of 86.
Yeah.
And immediate wave of memories, sympathies, and just remembrances from people who are all of the biggest names in the NBA universe talking about what an impact that Jerry West had and will leave behind him.
I mean, the logo. Like, it's just really that simple.
The
You call
logo.
him the logo. One of the greatest names ever made as far in basketball. Like Air, Magic, you know what I mean? Logo. Like, that's just the biggest flex of all time. 14 years in the league, 14 times he was an all-star as a starter.
I believe they call that batting 1,000.
Yeah, that's what that is, man. The only player to ever play in the finals and win an MVP in the finals on a losing team. That's how good he was.
That's
Also-
the Jerry West.
You know what I'm saying?
His stat line, like his average across that final series,
good
was
God.
absurd.
Really,
for
really.
his time in the NBA, for his
Truly
era.
dumb. And it's funny because as a player, it wasn't so much of him winning titles, but as an executive, 8 times. You know what I mean? Was an executive for the Lakers of why they got that. Kobe Bryant being on that team is Jerry West. One of the greatest trades ever, is Jerry West. You hear when guys speak about him, it's definitely because the dogs come out. And I love that quote he said talking about dogs.
And he said, I'm a wolf.
I'm a wolf. I eat dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the truth. That's who he was, man. That's how he played. He was always very, very harsh, and I mean that in the most wonderful way because I love a goon, and that's how he played the game. Was on the 69-13 Lakers team. That was the best team record in the NBA at that time. But yeah, man, when guys like Jordan come out, and I love what Mike said because he said I always wanted to compete against him, but then I got to know him and I just wanted to be teammates with him. You know what I'm saying? And even Jerry West talking about him and calling him the greatest of all time because that's exactly what he is. But they considered each other. They had a brother, like they talked about it like that. Like Mike called him a big brother, and Jerry was like, he's like a little brother to me. You know what I'm saying? But I love him on and off the court because he's always the same. Is how he described it. But no, there is no evolution of basketball without Jerry West, man. And him being the logo is just one of those things you're just proud to see all the time.
It's such a good point, and that's exactly what I was going to bring up, which is that, like, whenever you hear Michael talk about the greatest of all time and being compared to other greats like LeBron, he's always like, well, I never got to play against the players who came before me, like Jerry West. Like that, it was Jerry West, Dr. J. Like that's the kind of rarefied air that the greatest talks about with. So, and then also like you think about guys that have just been like NBA lifers who have played, who were coaches, who were executives, who had success at the highest level every step of the way. And it's like Jerry West, Pat Riley, like those are the names that you think of. That's just like NBA, like just Hall of Fame people through and through. And he did it at every level. He was with the Warriors as an executive from 2011 to 2017. So I caught like the very last couple months of his tenure with the Warriors. And you could just see like the way he walked around a room and commanded a room, people, just the unbelievable respect that people had for him, admiration, just the attention that he walked around with, that just told you everything you needed to know, even if you didn't know how great of a player he was. That's the kind of respect he commanded. And just, you cannot tell the story of basketball without Jerry West, but it's not just as a player. It's like as an executive too, and it's for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah, he's about to go into the Hall of Fame for the third time.
Because he's already in as a player
3
and as a contributor.
Right. And because he was on the 1960s Olympics team. That is also in the Hall of Fame. And as a player, he's going in. So now going in as a contributor, he'll be in there. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But it just shows you how dominant he was. And also to be on a team that included like Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain, and you're the man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, no. He won nothing.
I mean, a couple of different things go one way instead of the other way in all of those finals appearances. I mean, it's crazy to talk about the fact that he is, an NBA champion, but once over as a player.
Yeah.
It could be 6 or 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I mean, so many fluky things happened in all of his various trips through the playoffs and in the finals. And you already mentioned the finals runner-up and winning MVP of the finals in that. But, I mean, the longevity, I like the way that our buddy Reed Jack broke it down.
Shout out.
Third straight Reed Jack shout-out day.
Hey.
Talking about how, by decade of basketball in the world, he's had a footprint. In the 50s, he won Most Outstanding Player in the NCAA in 1959. 60s, that gold medal you mentioned, and 7 times reaching the finals. Sadly, all 7 times as a runner-up. Finally gets that chip in 1972, so there's the 70s. 80s, he builds a 5-time Lakers championship squad. 90s, gets Kobe, gets Shaq. Then, early 2000s, watches them win titles. And then, as you mentioned, GOAT, then the Warriors dynasty, too.
Right.
It is nuts.
And that's dumb.
Dumb.
As a play, the first play that always comes in my head with him is when he hit a 60-footer or 70-footer from way past half court in the finals. To send the game to overtime.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the first thing I think of when I think of him, man. It was I don't remember who they were playing, but I know it was 1970. But that was inbounds. They thought the game was over. You saw people heaved it. Cash. We going to overtime. It was game 3. That's the kind of cold-blooded nature that he played with. You know what I'm saying? And he grew up pretty harsh. Yeah. You know what I mean? He had a father. He talked about it. He had a father that was an alcoholic. And, he said he played basketball because he was devoid of love. And so he took it out on basketball. He found basketball because of that. And that's it. And that shows in the way that he played and the way that he thinks. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you don't have to have a terrible background to be that kind of dog. Michael Jordan is the greatest example of that.
Yeah.
But that's what his was. And he was just amazing, and probably you can argue the greatest basketball life of anybody ever that has played this game. 60 years in the game of basketball and just tons and tons of success with it.
And he will be remembered forever for a plethora of reasons, but not the least of which is the fact that he is the logo of the NBA.
Come on.
Right.
He is basketball immortality.
Yeah.
Which I think, and shout out to our buddy Anthony in the comments, who said, even though I love MJ and think his logo should be for the NBA, much love for the logo for Jerry West, forever NBA. People were talking about that on the NBA Twitter sphere this morning, and somebody had posted that, sit down he was doing in some studio show not that long ago, talking about how he thinks that they should change the NBA logo and not be his likeness anymore.
Yeah.
MJ, you mentioned part of what he issued in his statement about Jerry West's passing earlier today, about how he admired him as a competitor, thought about how great it would be to compete against him, but then thought, man, actually, how great would it have been to be his teammate?
Yeah.
I pose this question to you, my fellow Bulls people, Bulls fans out there. As a Bulls fan, would you have preferred to see Michael go head-to-head against Jerry West or Michael play alongside Jerry West as teammates? Because to me, the answer is obvious. I would have wanted to see them go head-to-head, ideally in a playoff setting, because I'm not a dog, I'm a wolf. That's MJ shit.
Yeah.
Jerry West was insanely competitive. MJ, insanely competitive. Watch them duke it out.
Yeah.
These are two guys who thrived in their roles being star players in a mostly pre-super teams era. I don't want to play with the best. I want to beat the best. They had that mentality in common.
Well, let me just argue the other side then. It's like putting Freddie and Jason on the same team.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to see that. We killing everybody. Everybody will die. And I am here for that movie right there. So that would be fun to sit and watch those guys play off of each other. Because Jerry West was a shooting guard and a point guard. I always put him kind of in the point guard category. But he had no problem facilitating and no problem defending. 5-time all NBA defense. And he will bite you. So yeah, dude, like him and Mike on the same team with both of them having the same focus, singular focus and mentality.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's like Michael Myers and Jigsaw together, too. Like, that's crazy. So I would like to see that, too.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong either way. But, like, my favorite thing in basketball is when two players are competing against each other at the absolute highest level. And they are just relentless competitors.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't really talk about guys like MJ and Jerry West who were more competitive. So I would love to see a battle between those two. Obviously, it'd be great to see two of the greatest players ever play together.
Sure.
But for me, I just love that caliber of competition. So I would love to watch them against each other.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
R.I.P. to the legends.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Man. They talk about celebrities in threes, like Walton, Chet, and Jerry West, all in quick succession for the NBA family.
Yeah.
Some sad losses recently, but it's also fun to reminisce and go over their accomplishments together.
Yeah.
Let's take our first break. We will come back and dive into some draft night trade talk. We got some more buzzings going around, including Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
That's on the other side. While we are sharing these words from our sponsors, you know what to do, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you also subscribe to CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Big Dave.
If the sleeveless Peck hasn't told you what's going on, it's summertime, y'all.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and the way to celebrate and enjoy it is by hitting up Sunnyside, because it's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality hydroponics in the city. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city like Wrigleyville or River North, to the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. So head to sunnyside.shop. Use the code HICHGO. Put that in at checkout. 35% off your favorite brands is what you're going to get. Woo! Favorite brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. You say is it the mango gummies that you're rocking with?
They're like tangerine flavor. The Good News Brunch. Good News Brunch gummies.
Rock with those too. 35% off. You can get it at Sunnyside. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only 21 and over, or Illinois medical card holders.
Before you head out to run your afternoon errands, maybe including a stop by Sunnyside, make sure you get your Prize Pick selections in for Game Thrice of the NBA Finals.
Let's go.
Which tips off in just a few hours.
Just a few.
Game 3. There's still basketball happening.
What the hell?
I know we're already looking at the draft 2 weeks away because we're Bulls fans, but there is basketball. And where there is basketball, there is Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch these NBA Finals. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on anywhere from 2 to 6 different player stat projections for Mavs, for Celtics, whoever you're rocking with, for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 in just a single game watching the finals tonight. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. I know, I've done it several times over. All you do is just pick those 2 to 6 players, and you're thinking more than or less than, whether it's Kristaps and Borge, which, by the way, hopefully he plays tonight. Have we gotten anything other than questionable from yesterday?
I have not seen an update. I can check on
day to day.
Day to day is all
hopefully Luke is out there balling.
Oh,
I don't know how many braces he'll need to wear in pregame warmups, but
right, dog.
get Luka out there,
Build
make
him
your
a
picks,
leg.
or maybe you're feeling taking some less thans on Luka tonight.
Yeah,
because he is like the $1 million man, $6 million man. Either way, make your lineups with Prize Picks for your chance to win big watching the finals tonight. Download that Prize Picks app. Use promo code CHGO for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That's promo code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Will you add and go?
I was going to say Luka is probable and KP is questionable. So
there it is.
See how that goes.
All right.
For tonight's game 3.
I see you Sports Chicago style. Peck's Guns looking a little deflated. I said this to one of our coworkers earlier. Does not matter. No shame, only pride and confidence in your body.
That's it.
When it is this hot out and you're wearing sleeves, you're doing it wrong. I know I got these little dangly spaghetti noodle arms. I don't care. What do you think? I'm going to waste my time in a gym? I got a job. I got sports to watch on TV. I got friends. I got a social life. I got family. Yeah, I'm going to rock a tank top or a cutoff tee with these lack of biceps and feel damn good about it.
Talk that shit.
And so
man.
should you.
Let's go. Let them know, baby. No body shaming up here. That man is comfortable and happy. Let him be that.
I got size 13 and a half feet. I'm doing just fine.
What? Just from downtown, out of nowhere.
Way downtown.
Bang, bang, bang.
Pause.
Well done. Well done. Man, I got to quit hanging with you.
Hey. All right.
Off-season Bulls pod. Let's go.
Let's talk potential draft night trades.
Oh, when the Burke boys are out.
Hey, man, it's summertime.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
So this came from Sixers Wire Sixers reporter Kai Carlin, and it was making its way around NBA Twitter the other day. He was doing a spot for the Philly sports talk radio station 97.5 The Fanatic, talking about what the Sixers are going to do with their draft capital in a couple of weeks. And he said, quote, "I don't think the Sixers keep that number 16 pick in this draft. I think they trade that pick away for a win-now player."
Okay.
Alex Caruso is the immediate name that comes to mind. If you're the Sixers, you have to at least give the Bulls a call to see if he's available. And again, that's Kai Carlin of Sixers Wire. Guys, let's just for a second just put a pin in the AK is in love with Caruso and will never trade him. And just hypothetically speaking, say, finally, AK gets an offer for Caruso leading up to or on draft night, and he likes what he hears, and he pulls the trigger on this one. What was your reaction to, as we've talked a lot about what the Bulls might get for Caruso in a trade, and then how maybe he has taken a hit and a hit and a hit in these transaction windows where they've kept him, getting a number 16 pick from Philly for Alex Caruso? Good? Bad?
I mean, cool. I guess, if it sucks because they kind of put themselves in this position where you have to listen to these offers like this, because last year they were, a little more prevalent as far as what the teams were willing to give up, or what was being reported teams were willing to give up for Alex Caruso. So a 16th pick in this draft, I equate more with Zach LaVine than I do with Alex Caruso, only because Alex Caruso was more highly coveted by other teams. So if the Bulls feel like they want to make the trade and let it go, I don't think I'd be super happy with this one, just getting the 16th pick back. Even though I know AK enjoys picking later in the first round, I get it, and I understand those things. But I think there's more value to Alex Caruso, and I'm going to want more. Especially I know what he's going to do for that team in Philly. Like whatever team he goes to, and this is the track record, whatever team he goes to, he elevates it. He's going to make your team better. He's going to improve them defensively. Guys are going to get a little smarter. So Philly needs that kind of stuff because they're kind of stuck in that second round. And Alex Caruso could be that guy that helps them, get over that hump. And that's more than a 16th pick for me in this draft. I'm going to want a little more.
Yeah, this is nowhere close for me. Knowing a little bit about like what kind of offers the Bulls have had before for Caruso, and like even Woj talking about before the deadline, the Bulls could get 2 first-round picks. Look, 16 is a first-round pick, but it's not like a very strong first-round pick. I mean, especially in a weaker draft, you could get a rotation player maybe, but like if you at that point, like you may as well hang on to Caruso, and I've been very much a proponent of trading him.
Yeah.
But the reason I feel that way is because I think you could get 2 first-round picks for him.
Yes.
So here's the thing, like I think a lot of times people are obviously like a fan of how well Caruso plays defensively, understands how much of an impact he makes, but like I don't really think people understand how valuable that is, especially on his contract. So when you think about it compared to a Zach LaVine, obviously Zach's a great basketball player.
Sure.
He can score 25, 5 and 5.
Yeah.
He can go 50, 40, 85. Like he's a great player, but when you put the $43 million on that, it takes value away from where he is in terms of what he provides. And so when you're looking at Caruso, it's the other way around. He's making $9 million this year. His value that he provides on the floor far exceeds the money that he's making. And then on top of that, I think just because he's not like a 20-point-per-game scorer, people kind of undervalue his impact on the game. Like what he does defensively is very similar to what DeMar does for the Bulls on the offensive end. He is the Bulls' defensive system. He is basically single-handedly responsible for their defensive success in a lot of ways. And when you're looking at what teams would give up for that and like what kind of contract he's going to get on his next deal, it's going to be $20 or more million. And so to get that kind of impact for $9 million a year, that is a huge value. And so I'm not trading Caruso for less than 2 first-round picks. I think you could probably get a decent first-round pick, a future pick, and like a decent young player. Now, I think his value has gone down a little bit since last trade deadline. At this point, you only get 1 playoff run on his contract before you have to extend him. So still super valuable, but maybe not quite as much. But, I mean, I just think you could really cash in on Caruso, and I think the Bulls have passed on opportunities to do so in the past. I don't think now they're going to just all of a sudden settle for the 16th pick. Now, if you talk about attaching a bad contract, now maybe you're starting to get a little bit closer. Like we can talk about a LaVine idea here in a second where you attach LaVine to Caruso. But if you're talking about just Caruso and the value that he provides in a vacuum, like I think it's far more than the 16th pick.
And like not just the value of, hey, it's only a $9 million salary for an all defensive guy who, knock on wood, has stayed fairly healthy for the last couple of seasons.
Yes.
Career high number of games played, 71 this season after playing 67 last season. Oh, and by the way, this season, he had a career-high three-point attempt rate, and he knocked it down at nearly 41%. So when you pair that ability with a defensive ace, to think about that player making $9 million in today's NBA salary cap is outrageous.
Yeah, and what Will just said just really put something into perspective for me. When you talked about the fact that after his contract, you see him getting in that $20 million range. Like, that puts it in kind of perspective right there.
We're talking about Patrick Williams getting a new contract where he makes close to $20 million.
Exactly. But saying you can get that kind of value from this kind of guy for that less money, because you can get it now because he's going to get super paid when it's that time to come up, that puts it a whole new perspective on it and makes me even more vehemently against something like this. Saying, dude, no, there is real super value here on a low contract. You're going to have to give me more if you want this kind of player. I don't mind giving them to you at all. You're just going to have to give up a little more, man, because, wow, he's about to get broke the hell off.
I mean, okay, so Stephen No put together this simple salary
Shout out,
model.
Steph.
I've been using it for a couple years now, and basically what it does is it projects your annual value in dollars based on how many games you play, how many minutes per game, and your estimated plus minus, so your EPM, which is widely considered to be like the most accurate and useful all-in-one advanced metric. So based on that, Caruso, his salary next year is $28 million. Okay, he's making $9 million. That's a third of that. And so I don't know if you can give Caruso close to $30 million on his next deal because like that's just not the way that it works. Like you do get paid to score the ball. But I mean, his defensive impact is, we're talking about like, I mean, he was number 1 in the league among qualified players last year in defensive EPM. It's like, you know, he had a better EPM than Wembanyama defensively, than Gobert. It's Marcus Smart level from his prime. Like he's that good. He's higher than Bam Adebayo, Draymond Green, Jalen Suggs, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Asar Thompson, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Kawhi Leonard. Like he's above Gobert. He's above Aaron Gordon, Jalen Williams, Evan Mobley. He's above everybody because of the impact that he has. And again, I'm not saying you pay him $30 million, but that's the production that you're getting. It's approximately $30 million worth, $28 million. And so when you are signing that guy at such a value deal, I mean, it would be like trading Zach LaVine on like a minimum salary or something where like, hell yeah, I want that guy. Because the value he's providing on his contract is so far exceeds how much you're paying him. And then on top of that, in a league where you really are crunched for dollars in this new CBA world, having that kind of contributor on that kind of contract is a massive, massive boon. And so it doesn't surprise me that the Bulls have said no, because they want that production and they want to compete. But at a certain point, if you aren't competing, or let's say Caruso, like, okay, Caruso's extension is $78 million over 4 years. That's like $19 million a year, 18.5. So unless Caruso feels like he's not going to get more than that on the open market, he's going to become a free agent and test the market, because that's as much as the Bulls can offer. And that's only if they clear enough space to do that. That's an extension. So Caruso is going to become a free agent here next year. And the Bulls really have to be thinking about, are you willing to pay him more than $20 million to beat out other offers? Because Caruso's going to want to go play for championships. So you're going to be willing to overpay to keep him, like you have with Vooch and maybe DeMar this summer, and LaVine the summer before that? Or are you going to cash in while he's still on this incredible value contract? Even though it may not be for quite as much as you could have gotten last trade deadline, you could still get a lot and really set yourself up well for the future. I mean, this is effectively a superstar role player who is a defensive system unto himself. And like, that is super, super valuable. I think you get a lot more than the 16th pick.
We got to take our second break in a minute here, but just to rattle off a few comments of people chiming in on this Caruso trade topic. Jerry saying he's valuable. Caruso is a spark plug for any team. Man-Eater Pug. Shout out Man-Eater Pug. Long time no see. Saying the Bulls don't have much choice at the moment. I'm not saying you pull the trigger, but you'd have to hope Caruso keeps up his production and stays healthy up to the next trade deadline for a better deal. Personally, I'm sick of hoping that the Bulls will, as they get closer to the trade deadline, trade a player who has value. I don't want to do that again. If we can get an offer for Caruso this summer, let's trade him. Lars mentioning that Warriors wanted, or the Bulls wanted Kuminga for Caruso, but the Warriors only wanted to give up Moses Moody. If that report that we did all hear was true, even Moses is worth more than this year's number 16 pick. Rob saying, Caruso, you pay him if he wants to stay. He helps change your culture for decades as a player and a coach. And that kind of goes to what you were just saying, Goat, about this big extension that the Bulls have looming over their head with Caruso. But I'm sorry, like if I'm Caruso and I know that there are plenty, like legit 29 other NBA teams want me. And of those, at least a third will try to get in touch with me to figure out how they can get me to come play for their ball club, while also telling me what they can do for me financially. You got to assume some of those teams finished better than the Bulls did this season, if not most of them.
20 teams finished better than the Bulls this season.
If I'm Caruso, even if the Bulls do offer that, am I sticking around to sacrifice my body for a few more seasons worth of hard games and 500 basketball?
No. Let that man out.
Sub 500.
Get something back. Get something back and rebuild. Keep rebuilding.
Let him out. Also, shout out to Eli who said, hey, PHNX fan here. Just wanted to give CHGO a shout out. Great show. ... PS, DNVR sucks. Wow. The DNVR PHNX rivalry, and I think it's more so between their viewers and listeners than our colleagues and friends over there themselves,
seriously,
is for real.
I've noticed.
PHNX did not like it when you and I went out to Denver to support them in the finals last year.
They'll be okay.
Chat's a little frisky today.
Yeah.
Chat's a little
frisky today.
Yeah, a little frisky.
It's a hot one out there.
It's a hot one, yes.
It's a hot one, Goat.
It's a hot one, man.
Turn the fan on, turn on the AC.
Yeah, man. Get you
Pun
one of these
intended.
right here, and life will be better. I promise you.
There you go. More on this Caruso trade on draft night conversation, including what Will kind of teased a little bit earlier, which is maybe throwing Zach LaVine and his contract into the mix with Philly in particular. That's on the other side. Hit the like if you didn't do it the first time around. Do it for Baby Joe. Do it for Troll Joe. Do it for Alex Caruso, who deserves all of our love and appreciation.
Yes, he does.
Big Dave, who's next?
Beer. Couple of y'all need it.
Hello.
Need to adopt this chill mindset, like Matt Peck is doing, because Summer
Adopted
Peck
like a sweet, sweet baby.
is in effect catching wreck, cashing checks, snapping necks. That's how he rolls, baby.
Woo-hoo.
Between work, social media, and the choices life throws your way, it's no wonder you're more worked up. We get it. Coors Light celebrates rising above and truly a chill mindset.
Rise above it.
Why not turn a rain out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb 59,000th annual karaoke house party?
Invitation lost in the mail.
Hey, show up.
I'll bring the kegs.
That's right. That's right. With those guns that he's got right, he's carrying, baby. Beer muscles, literally. Or after a tough loss, settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill. Then reach for a cold Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. Because when those mountains turn blue, y'all know what to do. It's as cold as the Colorado Rockies. Cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So embrace that chill mindset. It's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. That mountain cold refreshment, baby. Crisp, refreshing Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the time to choose chill and choose Coors Light. Choose it. Love it. Drink it. Enjoy it. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door via Instacart. CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Drink responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Body by Coors.
Yes.
Reminder, as always, if you haven't signed up now, it's the perfect time. Right now.
Yeah.
To become a CHGO diehard.
When?
Right now.
That's what he said.
Right now. Before tip-off. Before you get your prize picks in. Sign up to become a diehard first, because you want to check out that draft database, including all of these lottery prospects and all the way through second-round picks from our one and only Will to Go Gottlieb that is available on allchgo.com right now, only to CHGO diehards. Ooh. And that's just one of the latest and coolest examples of all of the great content that we save exclusively for our CHGO diehard members from all of our credentialed reporters and journalists here at CHGO covering all of your favorite Chicago teams. Then, of course, there are the perks on perks on perks. 20% every time you shop at that CHGO merch locker. Dropping new, fresh merch all the time. All the time. Check it out.
Do it.
Plus, the free shirt, free, that you get when you sign up. Pick whichever one you want.
Free tastes better.
Free tastes better.
Free 99.
Exactly.
He's on it.
And I mean, man, we have just exploded and expanded our merch from when we first started. Just some t-shirts, a couple of hoodies. Now it's like hoodies galore.
Yep.
We got zippy hoodies.
Yep.
We got winter caps. We got summer ball caps.
Oh.
Take your pick.
You got Showtime.
Father's Day. Maybe you're running a little late on Father's Day presents. You still got time.
Yes.
We got the CHGO dad hat.
Yeah.
Grab one for your dad.
Grab it.
I got one for my dad for Christmas.
And then Matt's going to throw it.
That's right. You don't have to throw it, though. You can just neatly wrap it and hand it to your papa.
Papa!
Also, access to that Discard Diehards only, one channel for every team. We're going to be doing a mailbag episode that's dropping on Friday. Questions from our CHGO Diehards in that Discord. Fun place to hang out. All those perks and more when you sign up to become a CHGO Diehard. Do it today. That's right. We've got hats!
Notice Will's rocking the Coors Light shirt right here. Looking all fresh and stuff.
Also Body by Course.
I'm supporting the company
Outfit
that made
by
your body.
Course.
That's right. The GOAT.
Body by Course.
Let's go, baby.
Soul
Backwards.
Thadon in the comments saying, I would not trade with Philly, but for that number 3 pick from the Rockets, sounds way better. Well, okay.
Well, yeah.
Heftier price tag of what you're sending out to move up to that number 3 pick.
Sure.
The Bulls are at 11, and we're talking about maybe making a deal with Philly to get that 16 pick because they might be looking at acquiring win-now talent, parentheses, Alex Caruso, parentheses, also Zach LaVine.
Right.
Because, you found somebody else talking about a Bulls-Philly trade on Twitter. Somebody I'm not familiar with, somebody Marty Teller, who's some Sixers person.
Some guy
Who proposed this one right here, LaVine and Caruso for the number 16 pick this year and a 2026 first-round pick that they have coming their way from the LA Clippers.
Okay.
It, as Marty points out, leaves the Sixers with about $10 million in additional cap space after bringing in Caruso and LaVine, and one of those exception contracts that they can add to for a starting power forward that the team needs, and maybe some bench depth. So this one, I think, is maybe even more enticing if we've talked about, can you get something for LaVine, or do you have to give up something to get off of LaVine's contract at this point, and how far his trade value has fallen? Packaging him with Caruso. Okay, so you're talking about getting 2 picks and getting off Zach's contract if you see that as a win or a part of a win in a trade.
Right.
But then the other half of your brain says, well, wait, we're giving up Zach and Caruso for a first-round pick this year and then a Clippers first-round pick 2 years from now? You got to assume Steve Ballmer 2 years from now is still going to be saying, I don't care what it costs, playoffs. So how valuable might that pick really be? And we've talked about getting 2 picks for just Caruso in the not-too-distant past.
Yeah.
So there's 2 sides to weighing the quality of this proposed deal where you're packaging Zach and Caruso together.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just helps you kind of understand the framework of how important these contract sizes are. If you can only get, if we were saying 16th pick for Caruso is like nowhere close, but then 16th pick plus the worst of Oklahoma, Houston, and the Clippers in 2026 for Caruso and LaVine is like maybe a better deal, which I think it is. You're starting to understand how negative a value deal LaVine's contract is. And again, I'm not saying he's a bad player. Like, I don't think that's the case. But basically, if you are to trade for LaVine, you're making a $43 million investment in a guy that you're not sure if he's going to be healthy. You're not sure how much he impacts winning. And you have questions about his defense and his decision-making with the ball in his hand. So he can't be the best player on a championship team. How can you pay him like he is the best player? Because he's making a max contract. And yes, contracts are going to get depressed in value as the salary cap gets bigger. I'm not saying he's like got the worst contract in the league, but it's just a lot of money to invest in a guy that's got to be your second or third option. And when you talk about team building in this new era, it's very difficult to do team building with 2 or 3 max contracts. It's just really, really hard to do. And so who's signing up to do that? With 3 years left on LaVine's deal instead of 4, I think it makes it a little bit of an easier pill to swallow. He does have the player option, which I expect he will pick up. But I also think like LaVine is going to improve his play next year, and he will.
I do too.
Like if you do trade for him, you might be able to trade him again down the line and get something a little bit more. You just be buying so low on him that I think it makes sense for a team like the 76ers. The question is just like, can they make the math work? They're going to have a max for Maxey. They're going to have a max for Embiid. And now you're talking about LaVine too. Well, adding Caruso, who's that caliber of player, but only making $9 million, $9.5, it makes it a lot easier because now you're talking about 2 all-star impact players for $51 million instead of 1 for 43. And so I think when you think about it that way, teams like the Sixers might be more interested. I don't think that's like a massive return, but
yeah, it's not.
What it does is it gets the Bulls off of $51 million. And I think, I'd have to look at the cap and see what that would mean for the rest of things, but you get 2 rookies in the 11 and 16 picks, which is great. You get an additional future pick in 2026, which is great. And then maybe you get into the free agency game again after next year. If you can, Lonzo's contract expires, maybe you move off of Vooch when he's got 1 year remaining. All of a sudden, you're a free agent destination with Kobe and Ayo making basically nothing. And so I think it just opens up some doors. Obviously, it's not like a great value play, but all of this to say, like, cap space and flexibility matters here. And I think that's really what the Bulls are going to end up getting if they are able to offload LaVine. Being able to do that without taking any money back would be a huge win. And then to get 2 picks on top of it, you know, again, not the sexiest return. You're not getting like 3 picks and a young player or anything close to the Rudy Gobert deal, but it's still pretty good for where LaVine's value is now. And you're making a decision on Caruso to where you actually get something for him. I think it makes getting something positive back for LaVine a possibility.
So basically, this is putting the Bulls basically in that position for next offseason. You know what I'm saying? To make that
I'm gonna put together what the cap will look like while you guys keep talking.
Okay. I mean, just looking at it, if I'm just being honest, just looking at it on paper, I'm like, no. If I'm just
not a fan?
Not a fan.
Of
if
the
I'm just looking at it
Caruso combo?
Yeah. If I'm just
Okay.
looking at it on paper, and and that is strictly on the return that you're getting, because again, watching Zach LaVine play, we just talked about what Alex Caruso could bring, but just watching Zach LaVine play, I'm like, man, that's it. You know, for him and Alex Caruso, that's the first thing in my mind. But Will breaking it down and explaining it to you like that, you definitely see and come to understand why that is the move. That is not a bad move for the Bulls to do, because I do expect Zach LaVine to have a really good season. I really do, because he has a lot on his shoulders. He has a lot to prove, and usually players like that have something to prove come out and usually do their thing. So
if he wants to be happy in whatever next phase of his NBA life is in front of him, the first step towards making that happen is to ball out.
If he wants another nice contract, you know what I'm saying? Like, because again, it's a nice contract you have now, but it's going to end in a couple years. And if teams are like, well, no, we ain't doing this again, you know, ask Andre Drummond. You know, he's been in that situation now. He talked about with young guys how he can't get another couldn't get another contract. Yeah. He'll get one this season.
Who's the most notorious fumbled the bag player from, like, I don't know, 5 years back?
Schroeder.
Oh, yeah, Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, my gosh.
Yikes.
Fumble the bag.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Whoa, you got there.
Right through my fingies.
Good old butterfingers. But, yeah, man, like, again, if I just looked at it and saw it, and I'm like, no, those are 2 great players, and that's all I'm getting in these 2 picks. But knowing what you get back from the money and the situation the Bulls are in financially that Will is talking about, because they have to do something because they're up against the cap. Yeah. And they're not going into debt. We all know they're not paying that luxury tax. So they have to make these kind of shrewd moves, but it is a good one, because Will's right. It sets you up for your future and takes a lot of that money out, and free agents you can actually get back into that. So we know they want to win. We know, as far as like remain competitive, right, and get to the playoffs. This honestly allows that for next year for them to do those kind of things, because you can go, like Will said, you can go into free agency and attack for somebody and point to what you have in the young guys with Kobe and Io, who we expect to have really good seasons. So yeah, like I see the value in it for sure. I definitely see the value in this. It makes sense.
Somebody in the comments was asking, like, "Oh dear God, does this mean we're gonna end up having to like take Tobias Harris back?" And it's really like this. And Sean Sharp correctly pointed out, the Bulls don't need to take back Tobias Harris, and they can just absorb Zach's contract with the space they have in their cap and let Tobias Harris walk. So yes, I agree. I do not need a Tobias Harris as a Bulls fan. No, thank you, please. But that does also kind of throw in the other interesting wrench in talking about just like Zach Caruso pick another pick 2 years from now. Is Philly hypothetically going to send the Bulls any players, any bodies in this kind of trade?
I mean, I'll take one. If you send me like some backup center, you know what I mean, that you're not using, fine. I'm always a component of taking anything. Nothing is trash to me in the NBA when I'm talking about getting back a trade. If you give me something on the back end of a player I don't even know about, I'll take it.
I mean, like, the only things that the Bulls wouldn't want back in a trade from Philly are players who suck, and players on bad contracts.
Sure. I'm more so
anything else. Sure.
I more so just don't want to play on the bad contract. Yeah. I'll take the player that sucks. Like, give them to me. That's fine. You know, because in my head, in my head, I'm always like, well, you know, maybe a change of scenery. He might get me 2 points He's got 6 fouls to give. You know, I might use him some kind of way. I don't want the bad contract, though, because that will frustrate me when you're ass and you have a bad contract. That's even more frustrating. So, yeah, I'll do that.
So I was just looking at my cap sheet here, and if the Bulls were to do that and they were to trade Zach and Caruso for the 16th pick and a future pick, this year they would get themselves enough space to use the full mid-level exception, which right now they would not be able to do. So obviously that's great. And then, you know, they wouldn't be a cap space team, but it allows them to sign Patrick Williams for $18 million, which I think is a fair number to project right now, and still use the full mid-level exception.
Yeah.
Then you could still give DeMar your $40 million. Lonzo, you wouldn't have to worry about wiping him. Everything else stays the same, except for maybe Drummond walks and you use that 16th pick to draft a backup center. You have $12.4 million before you reach the luxury tax. You can use the full mid-level exception and sign everybody back comfortably and set yourself up with 2 rookies in this class. But next year is where I think that gets really interesting, because if you sign DeMar for a 2-year, $80 million deal, you'd have DeMar under contract for $40 million. You'd have Vooch in the final year of his deal, Patrick Williams under contract, the 11th and 16th pick, whoever you take with those, Kobe, Ayo, Dalen Terry, and Julian Phillips, and Javon Carter. So maybe 4 or 5 roster spots with $40 million in cap space. So that's a max free agent you could go out and sign, even if you still have Vooch and Javon Carter. Now you can move those guys as expiring contracts and create even more space. But now you're just starting to look at a team that has flexibility to make real moves in the free agent market.
That part.
While still being able to then clear out space to be able to bring back your own guys the following year. And so I think that's why, like, Zach LaVine was on the trade market in the first place. I think the Bulls kind of immediately realized, not only are we going to have a hard time making any changes and bringing in new players, we're not even going to be able to bring back DeMar if we don't move Zach first. And so there was some urgency last summer to try to move him. They couldn't find a spot. He gets injured. All of a sudden, the price is going down now. And this is where there is urgency to move him if you want to bring back DeMar.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's the best place to go, because I think, as I've said before, I'd rather sign and trade DeMar, keep Zach, let him rehab his value, and move forward from there. But this is the direction it seems like the Bulls want to go. And if you want to do that, trading Zach for picks and cap space gets you the ability to then make some changes down the line. And this is going to be a process. This is going to take some time. I don't think it's going to be a situation where you completely flip the roster in one summer and all of a sudden you're in first place again. Like, I just don't, maybe that happens, but I don't really view it that way, especially with, you know, if you're going into 25, 26 with an age 36 DeMar, I don't really see that being the case. But it opens up a different future where you're building around multiple young players outside of just Kobe and Ayo and Patrick. You've got Dalen, you've got Julian, you've got 2 more picks this year. Maybe that helps you retain your pick next year. And then you go into next summer with cap space, with your own pick, with multiple rookies from this year. Like, that's a great situation that the Bulls could have moving forward if all they do is just create space and get a few draft picks. And I don't think that's like a super far-fetched deal. I think it would take some things to go right. Like, Paul George probably has to re-sign with the Clippers. Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, those guys have to get traded elsewhere, not to the 76ers, before they turn their eyes towards LaVine. But, like, that's a reasonable deal. It's not paying too much. It gives the Sixers flexibility to still have a little bit of cap space this year because you're getting so much of an impact with Caruso. 3-year window with Zach LaVine. Maybe you try to trade him down the line. But I just think it makes a lot of sense for both sides if some other things kind of break right for the Bulls and don't break right for the Sixers.
Andrew in the comments saying, love DeMar, understand why the Bulls want to keep him, but damn, let the guy go somewhere where he can win. Echo 57 in the comments saying, what are the chances of a major draft night trade for the Bulls, greater or less than 50%? Before I answer that, how about we get another like or two? We got like well over 200 people watching. Shout out to y'all.
Thank you.
Bulls Podcast, middle of June. Our season's been over for 2 months. And there's plenty of you here talking about draft night trade rumors. Well over 200 watching, only 50 likes. Let's get the likes up.
Get the likes up.
Please and thank you. It's going to take you half a second. Do it for our friend Troll Joe. That is an interesting question. Goat, are you leaning one way or the other, 50-50, on likelihood of the Bulls making a big swing / trade of some kind on draft night? We've been talking about these multiple reports from various outlets that they're looking to trade up. And we've heard that they're looking to trade up for different names. Donovan Clingan. We've heard that about who else did we hear that about? We were talking about the other day.
Buzelis.
Oh, yeah, Montes Buzelis. Like, there's all kinds of talk about the Bulls looking to make some moves on draft night, which is why we're talking about this kind of stuff. I still think it's on the weak side of 50%.
Okay.
Just because I watch how this front office operates.
I think, like, define big move. I don't think Zach is getting traded on draft night.
Don't think Caruso's getting traded on draft night?
Caruso maybe.
Ooh!
Just because he's under contract. Like, you can't trade DeMar unless you extend him or do like a extend and trade. But that becomes difficult for some of these other teams because, again, I don't think Zach or DeMar are going to be their primary options in free agency. They're going to want to see what happens to Donovan Mitchell. They're going to want to see what happens to Brandon Ingram and Paul George and Jimmy Butler. Like, I think bigger names are going to have to fall before a team comes to the conclusion that, yeah, we want to go after Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. So I don't see either of those guys getting moved on draft night. Caruso, I could see. I think that would make some sense because it allows you to make the selection with the pick that you pick up. And I could see the Bulls doing like a smaller trade to get themselves back into the draft, or even moving up without one of those big names. I don't see either of those guys getting moved, just because I think the timing of things is going to work out not very favorably for the Bulls. I think they're going to have to wait until some other dominoes fall in free agency, which is going to take a couple more weeks. But I do think it's possible that they make a trade on draft night just because, like, they do have to start opening up some room in other spaces to just give themselves some flexibility. We've talked about it before. Like, if they want to avoid letting DeMar become a free agent, they have to extend him. The extension deadline is it's June 30th.
June 30, right?
Whatever the last day of June is.
Yeah.
So they have to do that. It
starts.
could happen before, or it could happen after the draft, but before free agency. But, like, they need to basically move Zach before they extend DeMar so that they can stay below the luxury tax. And I just don't see them being able to find a trade partner for Zach until some of those other names get moved. So I don't see either of those guys getting moved on draft night. I think it's gonna have to be a couple weeks into free agency, which is excruciating.
Yeah.
But I still could see like a smaller move, whether it's, the Bulls getting into the second round or, getting a additional late first round pick or even moving up in the first round. Maybe it's a Caruso deal. I think that's probably the biggest thing that could happen. But I just don't see Zach or DeMar getting traded on draft night.
If they do Caruso, that's a big move. If they
I would
decide
say
to.
so too.
Especially knowing how they feel about him, as we discussed. So yeah,
it would be a massive shift from what's been the norm, which is like, oh my God, no, we can't trade Caruso.
Right.
And I
You
think
can't have him. He's ours. He's our special boy.
That's it. He must be.
We
ours.
need him.
You gotta have him.
Need him for that 24th ranked defense the Bulls had this past season. 21st,
24th.
being wasted here.
Hey, Julia.
Speaking of which, Gia for Life TV in the comments saying, people always say, I love DeMar, quote unquote, before advocating for him not to be on the team. LOL, you guys are so benevolent. Shout out for benevolent.
Yeah,
but
out.
Again, Jeff Rock saying, as opposed to saying, I love DeMar, he should suffer on this incompetent Bulls team. Two things can be true.
Yeah.
I love DeMar.
Very much.
And I am also, as a Bulls fan, looking at a little ways down the road and the greater freaking good for DeMar and for us Bulls fans.
Uh-oh.
No,
No, I'm saying I feel a peck rant.
No, that's it. I'm
That's
just
it?
saying both things can be true. I love DeMar DeRozan. He has been brilliant here for 3 seasons. And where has it gotten us? 5-game exit in round 1, bounce in the play-in, thanks for playing. You want to commit to more of a 35-year-old vet doing the same here? That has nothing to do with disrespecting DeMar DeRozan at all.
He's right.
Freaking wake up.
That was a rant.
It was a mini one. It was a little mini one.
It was a mini rant.
It's a little mini one.
I know my peck. I know when it's coming. It's a storm a coming. I know it.
Not on this beautiful day.
But yeah, man. I'm okay with him going. We all do love him. Like, there's so many players we've said that about throughout our past. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love that guy, but we understand when it's that time, and it's got to go. No matter how you feel about that player, you understand the greater good, as Matt said. Like, it's okay for him to go and, let the other guys just play this shit.
Speaking of players you love, I mean, we've all felt differently about Zach over the years, and he's been here a long time now.
Sure.
I think Bulls fans, at least a healthy majority, would be sad to see Caruso go, even if they also count themselves among Bulls fans who think trading Caruso is in the team's best interest moving forward. Would going to Philly bug you in particular compared to seeing him traded to some other team? Because I hate Philly. Shout out to our friends at PHLY. But, like, I freaking hate Philly. I guess I've already watched him win a title with LeBron and the Lakers.
Yeah.
But that was before he came here and I fell in love with him.
True. I don't think it would bug me so much because, again, knowing that he feels he's one of those journeymen. You know what I mean? Like, oh, gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the show right now in my head. But just going town to town, you know what I'm saying, doing something nice, you know, for people and, you know, for the greater good and those kind of things. So, you know, he's a gun for hire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think I would be too
Reacher?
upset at it, man. Not Reacher, but that's a great point. Yes, I could use Reacher. But yes, man, yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
I'd be happy for him.
I just don't think about it that way. Like, to me, I just think about, like, what is in the best interest of the Bulls? How can they put themselves in a better position?
There it is.
And I think you have to be willing to make, like, there's rumors about the Bulls not wanting to do any business with the Lakers, just period, point blank.
It's wild.
Like, it's okay to do business with a team. It has to be, you have to be worried about what's in your best interest, not in terms of, like, let's not make life better for somebody else. Like, let's just do what's best for us at all times. Like, that's
the Lakers will make no sense.
Let's make a plan where we build forward the right way and we are building towards something positive. If he ends up going play for another team and wins a championship, great, good for him. But hopefully it benefited the Bulls on the way because they made a good deal.
I could not agree. It's about building towards championships. Come on. Speaking of which, Jerry Reinsdorf did also issue a statement on the passing of Jerry West. And just kidding, I don't give a crap what Jerry Reinsdorf said about Jerry West. R.I.P. Jerry West.
Just out of nowhere.
We're out of time. No one cares.
From downtown.
No one cares, Grandpa Jerry.
40-footer.
We are back tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Central Time. GOAT released his NBA mock draft up on the website, allchgo.com right now.
It's out there.
We're going to talk about it.
It's in the streets.
Tomorrow.
Oh, excited.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And also, Diehards, little time left on the clock. Throw us some more questions because we're going to record that mailbag episode to drop on Friday before our live Thursday show at 4 p.m. Central. So throw us those in the Discord. In the meantime, follow Will on Twitter, Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave is at BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck, our pal and producer on the controls, the one and only Joey Spathis at Joey Spathis. He is a Longhorn. Hit the like. We are CHGO_Bulls. Hit that like button. Listen to the GOAT on your way out. Appreciate you if you already did. Have a great night. Enjoy NBA Finals action, Game 3. Get your picks in on Prize Picks. See Rebby good.
Love y'all. Peace.